Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great Tuesday so far, and as well as a great start to your day. And today is February 4th, 2025, and in today's forecast, we're going to be going over about how we could be seeing some big time winter storms as we get into the middle of February, which will more than likely be triggered by a huge polar vortex that is expected to roll on through. And then not only that, we will also be tracking some potential storm systems as we head throughout this week and even into next week, which we will keep an eye on very closely. But if you are new here to the YouTube channel, or if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to go down below and click that subscribe button so that way you guys don't miss out on my future videos or live streams that we do on this channel. And of course, it really does help support it, so make sure to do that, and I really do appreciate it. But let's first start off by taking a look at the European model. And as you guys can see, we are going to be tracking the potential for a lot of freezing rain across the northern Ohio Valley into the southern Great Lakes region, and as well as the Mid-Atlantic by the time we get into Wednesday and Thursday of this week. Not only will we be watching for that, but we will also be watching for a little bit of severe storms that could unfold across the lower Ohio Valley and Tennessee River Valley, which we will show you guys in just a second, but it doesn't really look like it's going to be as bad given the fact that the other models are not actually pointing a huge severe storm outbreak or anything like that. So we're not really expecting anything major with the severe storm threat, but we still could be seeing a little bit of isolated wind and hail as we head throughout Wednesday and into Thursday, which will be February 6th and 5th. So that will pretty much be tomorrow. And then after that, that will then head out, and then we might see another small surge of energy try to work its way on in here. But I think the biggest concern will be tomorrow for your Wednesday, as I do think we could be seeing some isolated severe storm potential. But once again, it does not look as bad, especially if we compare it to the HRRR model, as it keeps that cape much farther down to the south. But once again, though, we will watch it closely, as I would not roll out some thunderstorms as far north as the lower Ohio Valley. Now, let's look at the Storm Prediction Center outlook. As you can see, today is mostly fine despite California, which might see a few rumbles of thunder for today. It's especially going to be tomorrow, where the Storm Prediction Center now has a marginal level 1 out of 5 threat for a few isolated severe storms, mainly across Mississippi, Alabama, into central and western Tennessee, including the Memphis region, all the way up there into southern Kentucky, where some wind and even some hail could be possible today. I still wouldn't rule out a little bit of an isolated tornado threat, but the chances are very low, so you obviously don't really need to be taking this too seriously. Maybe have a small tornado action plan in place just in case. Otherwise, you should mostly be fine, as a tornado threat is likely going to be on the lower side of things, but you should at least be aware of damaging winds, as that looks to be the biggest concern for today. And then after that, heads out as we get into Wednesday and Thursday of this week, which, like I said, will be tomorrow and even the day after. We will then start to see some pretty big time winter storms try to get their acts together, and you guys can see that the latest from the European model wants to try to bring a winter storm a little farther down to the south by the time we get into February 12th, which is still kind of far out from now, but we will still keep an eye on it closely, as that winter storm could produce some freezing rainfall impacts across the Carolinas, maybe even bringing some heavy snowfall to parts there of Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, and maybe even a little bit there occurring even in the Dakotas. After that heads out, we may see another one develop, which this one is saying that it will be much farther to the north, but we will still watch it closely, as maybe even another winter storm rolls on through after that. But I think the biggest one to watch for will be as we get into Wednesday, February 12th, where a winter storm could definitely be trending a little farther down to the south, which would definitely be rare, especially for you guys down there in the Carolinas. And then if we compare that to the GFS model, just to show you guys how concerning this is, you guys can see that the GFS model is still showing the same thing. It does want to bring it a little farther to the north, given the fact that that rainfall snowfall might be, right along the Ohio River, but it's gonna be something to once again really keep an eye on closely, as it still does bring some pretty big freezing rain and heavy snowfall impacts along the Ohio Valley, and once again, maybe in a few other winter storms after that. But it looks like the GFS model is not saying that there'll be any more winter storms than just this one as of right now, but we will definitely watch it closely, as some big time winter storm impacts do appear to be possible. Now, let's look at your total snow and also your total freezing rainfall. And as you guys can see, from now all the way to February 15th, you guys can see how areas like the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast are likely going to experience a lot of that heavy snowfall from these next couple winter storms that could roll on through. So we will be watching that. Plus, even a lot of heavy snowfall out there to the west is also looking likely. I think both areas are likely to see anywhere from 1 to 3 feet of snowfall depending on your elevation. So this will still be something to really keep an eye on very closely as we head throughout the next few weeks and even into the middle of February. And same when we compare this to the European model, you guys can see that the European model does still want to bring that snowfall a little farther to the north, but once again, the European model also wants to kind of bring a chance for some snowfall a little farther down to the south, as places like Cincinnati may get around a half a foot of snowfall with this next winter storm. Places like Columbus, Ohio may even experience quite a bit. It's not going to be anything crazy, or at least not as bad as what we saw along the Gulf Coast of what we saw with that historic winter storm. But once again, though, this is still something to keep an eye on closely, as it's still winter. Things can still happen like this. So we will watch it very closely for you over the next few weeks, especially as we get into the middle of February, where I do think some pretty big winter storms will be likely. And of course, we will be watching the potential for even some freezing rain. You guys can see that widespread freezing rain is possible, as we'll see these next few winter storms roll on through as we get into the next couple of weeks, especially the middle of our February. So this will also be something to keep an eye on as well. And same goes with like sleet. We might even see some sleet in some spots, and we might even need to watch for some flooding issues as well, as the European model does want to bring some pretty high rainfall totals even to those areas as far down south as Louisiana, which could definitely cause some pretty big impacts. So we will definitely watch it very closely for you. And then after that, we will also be watching that polar vortex, which I almost forgot to show you guys. So let's quickly go ahead and go over that. And for the polar vortex, we will be tracking that as we get into the middle of February. You guys can see that on February 10th, we could be seeing that massive surge of cold air. And I do expect this to try to work its way down southeastward towards the deep south and southeast. It's just that this warm air is so strong, it's going to try to get rid of all that cold air, which means we would likely see a big warm up again, as you can already tell right there. But this cold air, once again, is just going to try its best to surge on in as much as it can. So we're kind of going to have a warm air and cold air battle ongoing, probably as we head even into the end of February, as like I said, just going to try to push in and try to stop that warm air as much as it can. And then this warm air is also going to try to stop its cold air as warm as much as it can, which means we will likely be seeing more severe storms, as this is usually what happens when we see those two air masses collide with each other. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, as we upload every day, and so that way you guys don't miss out on any future videos or live streams that we do on this channel. And of course, I really do appreciate the support for you guys, and I really do hope we can even try to reach around 2,000 subscribers before spring, as that's our next goal from now. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, and make sure to also like the video as well if you haven't liked the video already. And of course, share this with any friends, family, or anyone who you know on social media. I definitely appreciate it, and I hope you guys all have a great rest of your Tuesday, and as well as a great mid start to your work week. And I hope you guys all have a good one out there, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye.